Yeah, hi, Simon.
Hi, Sai. How are we doing? You okay?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, doing well today. It's a little chilly in the UK today, but yeah, we're well, and it's a bit of an early start, but it's good. Ready to go. And thank you for the opportunity to come and have a chat with you this morning.
Thanks for giving me opportunity. Thanks for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
No, no, definitely no. I'm very privileged to be alongside some other great interviews. I was watching some of them over the last few weeks. So yes, that's really cool. And it's a really interesting project which you're doing. So yeah, great to be involved.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you're doing a lot of work, giving a lot of services, being the owner of a company. Also, I can see you have a lot of experience in technology. I saw the work that you have done, and also when we had a conversation last time, you have shared the projects that you did, how you uh, uh, got into the technology and where you started and where you are today. So all these interesting things I thought to tell about to my audience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this. I don't really talk about this much to people, so it's really nice to have the opportunity. Yeah, I've kind of when I went to university, I studied software engineering. And I went to a university called Sheffield Hallam. It was a 4-year course, and what that meant that we got a year in industry. And so in that year, I worked at a company which did CCTV, like fiber optic transmission, for all the town schemes in the UK. And in that year, they ended up sponsoring me through my last year at university. So that's great. So I had a job to come, straight out of uni into. And then the last few months before as I was just taking my exams, my boss phoned up and said, "Oh, I'm leaving, and I'm wondering, would you like to come back and run the IT department?" So I kind of left university, went straight into running, sort of an IT manager role for this company. And like, I guess that's been always my sort of during my career, I've always wanted to learn about technology, keep up to date with, the latest stuff, but I've always had this kind of yin yang between doing IT pro infrastructure, networks and software. And then in that role, I could do both. So I did that for a few years, and then I was getting bored, and that's when video over IP and TCP/IP and the internet was really sort of coming along. So it's kind of like the late 90s. And I moved out of running the IT department and started developing their video network systems. It's all in Visual C++, and I kind of got into object-oriented programming, and we delivered some stuff for the Highways Agency in the UK, which was really cool. And I actually ended up really like ripping apart the system as it wasn't very stable, and introducing a lot of object orientated approaches, which made it much more scalable. And then that's really when I kind of got the bug of developing. Um, I left there and then went into contracting. Worked at a company called Link Interchange, which runs all the ATMs in the UK. And there was, again, it's sort of going back into infrastructure. I was running or helping a team run like 150 servers, and there's this big data center. And yeah, we really got into sort of automation. I was quite lucky, the timing of it. Um, yeah, it was kind of the infancy of like VMware, and it was in infancy of like trying to automate everything using tools like OpenView. And so I got into scripting and automating everything so that we could look after all these servers and really sit back and just kind of relax while the systems were there. And we did some cool stuff, like, we had a team of operators when hard disks failed. We automated all of that. So alerts would come in, they would get pinged an email with all the information that they needed to be able to call out an HP engineer, and we didn't have to do any of that. Because before, we used to get woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. "Oh, this hard drive's gone down. Can you come in and find out which one it was?" Well, through automation, we could do that. But I've always had an interest in knowledge management. When I was at uni, I did a project built on VB and it was ASP Classic, and it was kind of the infancy of an intranet. And you could fill out information about what your hobbies were and what your interests were. You could book holiday. This is sort of 1999. This was, and so I'd always been keeping an eye on SharePoint, and I've been following SharePoint. I went traveling, and then came back, and SharePoint 2007 was in beta and was due to be launched. And I thought, this is it. This is awesome. Even I think I could sell this to a manager. And so I went sort of full into SharePoint, working the NHS as a contract, and kind of that's really where my career. And again, what was nice about SharePoint, although lots of people probably thought it was a bit of a beast, is you had this balance of infrastructure. You needed to know about infrastructure and setting up servers and databases and configuration, but also you could do development. You could do .NET development. You could do JavaScript later on, and I always loved that balance of it. And so, I worked through various different roles. There's one company called Collar Capital who I just absolutely loved working there. It's one of my favourite places I ever worked. They were kind of again trying these technologies out, and I said, you can build an intranet on this, and they're like, what's that? What does that look like? And so we put something together, started demonstrating. They're like, this is great. We can see how we can use this, and we started, putting in business processes and developing workflows, it was fantastic. I left there and got married, and then I went to work as a contractor at a company called Content and Code, which is now Content and Cloud, and they started to introduce the idea of agile development, Scrum development. It was the first time, and we did a project for a bank. We're using Scrum, and it was quite eye-opening. It really worked. This project was going to be a sort of a short-term, maybe 6-9 month project as a tactical solution, while they brought in a bigger player like OpenText. And so what it was, the system was enabling the bank to put risk and control around financial transactions. And they're like, we'll use SharePoint and the application you build, and then we'll get rid of it and we'll replace it with something bigger. But what Agile did was we used to do all the sprint planning, the user stories, and we'd do day sessions with them and really get to the crux of what it is that they were looking to do. The fact that Scrum allowed change, and it kind of is built for change to always happen. It gave them all this flexibility, and slowly we built this product which they absolutely loved, and it became better than anything else that was out there on the market for them. It was very specific to them, and they ended up turning that into their strategic system. So it ended up, and that was the first time I really kind of got to understand what Scrum was about and understand some of the pitfalls of project management or traditional project management sessions or methodologies like waterfall. Fascinating. And then also at the same time there was talk about DevOps and those kind of areas. So we started, looking at how we could automate, the deployment of software and things with that at the same time. And it was really an exciting part. So it was that 2008, maybe to 2009, I think it was. And from there, still staying in SharePoint. I picked up a big project with the Financial Ombudsman Service, which that's probably my best project I've ever done. In the UK, there were the Financial Ombudsman Service. What they do, they're an arbitrator. If you have a dispute with your bank, and you don't think the bank has behaved in the right way, you would go to this Ombudsman Service, and they would arbitrate and work with both parties to come to an agreement. And over in the UK, there was this mis-selling of something called PPI, Payment Protection Insurance. There's a big scandal, really, and the banks were charging people for it without telling them. Anyway, so there's all these claims coming in, like millions upon millions of claims coming in from people in the UK. And the financial ombudsman service, couldn't cope with it. So we ended up building them a system which automated all the mail coming in, scanned it all in, fed it into SharePoint, and created these SharePoint sites. And I mean, it was massive. It was processing at its height, 120,000 documents a day. It was there's millions of sites being created in SharePoint, and the scale was incredible. But it really, really helped that the financial ombudsman service were able to take their lever arch paper-based files and move into SharePoint, and it all be electronic. Now more than one person could work on a case at a time because they didn't literally have that lever arch file which they passed to one another. And it was incredible. So yeah, that was a really cool project. But again, we introduced DevOps, more and more DevOps. So we did all, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and that was 2011. 2012 timescales, and I moved from there. I was living in London during that time, then moved back to Leeds, and then I started doing some more contracting, and then I started looking at doing something my own. I wanted to kind of build my own business, so I've tried. iThink is now my current business, and it's my third attempt at a startup. The other two just didn't work out. Generally just because I think not everybody was on the same sort of wanting to go in the same direction or pulling the same way. And so I started, iThink 365, and we've been going really properly for about 4 years now. And we try to help businesses get more out of Microsoft 365, particularly around SharePoint and Microsoft Teams, but also building applications on the Azure platform. And when I think it was around 2015, 2016, the cloud was really starting to take off. Microsoft Azure was coming along, and building applications on the cloud was, really exciting. Like looking at all the services, all the toys you had, and so, at that point I moved into just doing cloud stuff. I wasn't interested in on-premises networking servers. No, it was time to move and just use the cloud. It's really, really exciting time. But yeah, I think it's doing well now, and there's 8 of us in the business, and we're slowly growing. So no, it's good. It's hard work though.
So I can understand that you started your career working in infrastructure side of the technology, and then you started understanding the development of the software. So two sides of the technology thing, and now
Yes.
you are into business side of the technology as an owner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I took on a business coach 3 years ago, a chap called Ian, and I guess I feel that life is about learning stuff. We've got to be continually learning. I think, he really sort of said, you need to know about accountancy, and just gave all these books that I needed to kind of start consuming. And this concept of to be somebody, what is it that you need to do? What are the things you need to learn, the skills you need to learn? And the first one was accountancy, and accounting, those terms. But then just, understanding how to kind of manage people, and understanding, all the aspects of what business is. And that's sort of the journey I've been on. I mean, we were talking last week, weren't we, about, understanding how different people think, and the traits that people have, whether somebody's, a detail orientated person, or somebody just wants, communication in a direct manner, with maybe a few bullet points, because that's how they like to consume their information. It just, so there's a lot of reading around, how to build good teams, how teams can work with different personality traits, I find it fascinating. And going through that journey, I started to kind of look at Microsoft 365 platform and say, right, well, how can I sort of express how valuable it can be in running a business? And I started thinking about it, from a maturity model perspective, and that's when I got involved with Mark D. Anderson, as Emily Mancini, Sadie Van Buren, and Simon Hudson in this maturity model for Microsoft 365, which is, about kind of helping businesses, and actually, to be honest, helping people like myself and developers talk to senior management to kind of explain, this is why you would want to do these things. Here's the business benefit of improving how people collaborate, how they communicate, how you improve your business processes, kind of to allow the developers and the consultants to do cool stuff, and be able to get permission from senior management to get them to buy into to what we know can really help a business. And so we've been running that now for, it'll be 3 years this year actually. So it's gone very quickly. Yeah.
And starting, I think you started before 4 years. So what projects that you did?
And iThink. I guess the first one we did, and it was just me, for quite a while. It was just me. Was with a scientific research company, and it was the time when the Power Platform was starting to come. So you had Power Apps, you had something called Microsoft Flow, which is now Power Automate, and they wanted a process to improve how this company, they do events, they create white papers, they build software to help scientific research, and then they create all these articles and books and all sorts of publications, which they need to manage that process of publicizing those and publicating them and then tracking where they're being used. So we built them a system based on SharePoint and the Power Platform to help them improve that process. There was lots of issues around marketing ran that process, but people didn't know how it worked. They spent a lot of time, kind of helping people get through and get things done. And it was taking a considerable amount of their time. So we put in a Power App which kind of guided the user through that process, and so that really helped them, took that load off the marketing team. And then the next project after that was an Azure piece. Actually, it was really the first big application I'd done for iThink in Azure, and it used all the services which were available in Azure. It was so exciting, and it was all Azure functions and serverless, and again, something really that's kind of core to iThink is having those DevOps processes. So I don't have to remember how to build and deploy the software. It's all there in code, and so that really is great, because it just takes that load off the developers and off the team of, the stress of deploying software. So that's where a lot of what we use now I'd learned from that project. And what it was a training platform. So this organization, they had a process in the telecoms world. They had a process about their business, and they had videos and books and reading, audio, podcasts, which they all held in the system, and they're still using it now. And then they used that to train everybody in the organization on how to sell better, how to fix this problem. Like, all of their corporate assets go into this system, and that's all running on Azure. It was a cool project. We had to have digital rights management through Azure Media Services. There was loads. You had to be able to stream on, iPhones and iPads and Android tablets. And, I spent, about 9 months sort of building this. It was just me. But they're still, we still look up, we still support it. They're still using it. We did a deployment yesterday on it. So, it's still there. And it used that same DevOps process. And then, we kind of, I started sort of building out, looking at intranets. So how can organizations improve how they collaborate and communicate? And, in Microsoft 365, you've got this SharePoint piece, which allows you to do document management and create news stories and you've got a lot of capability there. And with the pandemic, Teams is just exploded. I can't remember this last stat, but it's something like 300 million active users and daily active users. And Microsoft Teams has replaced what SharePoint used to be. It's the hub of where you work. So, we were looking at the intranet and how you could bring it into Teams, and Microsoft have kind of done that work, bring it into Teams, so that you've got kind of all the tools and all the data and the information and the people in one place. That's your kind of your place of work. And this is sort of what we're looking at now, is how do you kind of break down these silos? We've all got different systems and applications which we use daily, and it's quite how do you improve your kind of mental well-being and get the systems to say, hey, you've got this bit of work to do, but bring it into your Microsoft term, the flow of work, into your tools, so you don't have to go and remember to open that application to find out, oh yeah, I've got that thing to do. No, it comes to you. It comes into the environment that you're working in, and it breaks down that silo. And I think that's kind of what we're working on a lot at the moment, is how to do that, help businesses do that, and help businesses and improve people's mental well-being and make it easier for people to get things done. And another aspect of that is automation. How do we help people get on and do the important creative stuff, and take away and automate those repetitive tasks, so that that the business has got better customer service, and it's got processes which are working, repeatable, reliable, consistent, and then the people in the business can go off and do the really interesting stuff, the stuff which is going to help generate and help that business innovate more. So that's part of what we're looking to do.
So you have done 2 projects till now.
No, I don't know how many projects. No, lots. I don't know. I've never counted, but maybe, I don't know, 40 projects, maybe. So lots on. What have we done? So we've done we did the training application, and then from there, what did we do next? We did started working with the Southwest Yorkshire Partnership as an NHS trust, and helping them move their SharePoint environment from an on-premise 2010, an old version of SharePoint, to the Microsoft 365 version of SharePoint. And they had a really interesting challenge, and this is why we got brought in. That the partner brought us in, because it's interesting, isn't it? When moving systems from a network to the cloud, when a system's running that network, it can talk to other systems and databases, and there's those dependencies, which are, they're very easy, in an on-premise network. It's all working. When you then do that migration over into the cloud, what about if you've got things which need to still talk to those databases within that organization's network? And this is what happened. They had an HR application, and it's running on SharePoint. It allowed them to access statistics and track information around running the hospital. So they were using it for assessments, clinical assessments, but it needed to talk to this database, and they moved it to SharePoint Online, and it couldn't talk anymore. The approach which they thought was going to work just didn't work. It was looking for a server name, and that server name did not exist. So we were brought in, and we helped build a really cool set of SharePoint web parts, using JavaScript and React, talking to an API in Azure, and then tunneling through into their on-premises database servers using something called Azure Hybrid Relay, Azure Hybrid Connections. And it was really cool. I wasn't sure how well it was going to work. We did some testing, and that's something which sort of talking about kind of ways of delivering applications. Quite often there'll be a problem which you don't know the solution to, and you have to sort of say to the customer, we think this will work this way, but we're not sure. We need to do an investigation. We need to run something called a spike and investigate and kind of discover the unknowns and try and shine some light on those unknowns so that we can say, yeah, we can go down this route, or no, we really can't. That's not going to work. And it's quite weird, isn't it, to say, oh, we don't know. It's an odd thing to say, oh, I don't know. I need to find out, and we need you to spend some money to find out, because it's in your interest. And so that's what we did. We did some investigation, and we proved that it worked, and it works really well. It's really performant. So we delivered that, and then we've been working with that organisation ever since, helping them with their other lots of again, the Power Platform, Power Apps, which what Power Apps is the Power App is really a way of describing your application. It's forms over data, so capturing some information and putting it somewhere else, or giving it to somebody, and how that works, we capture it in the Power Apps, and it can be structured and have validation, and then Power Automate we use to then take that data and do something to it. Maybe it emails somebody, or it adds it into another system and notifies a set of users that this event has happened. And so that's what we've been doing a lot with that organisation and with our customers. Power Platform has made a big difference. This concept of low code and being able to deliver things quickly, and try things out, it's been really powerful, our customers really like it. But there are some challenges with it, because still, Microsoft try and say that Power Platform, anybody can build software, and yes, to a certain extent, people, it makes it easier to build software, but I do find that people get stuck. They can build to a certain point, and then they get a bit stuck, and they need some support and some help, and actually maybe some of that application re-engineering, so that the experience that pro developers have had for a long time, they use that to kind of go, oh yeah, you've taken it this way, but actually if we just tweak this and change it in this way, that'll make it much easier for the system to work. This idea of fusion development, where you've got pro code or low code working together to deliver solutions, I think is really powerful. It's a really powerful approach.
And so you have worked for different industries.
Yeah. So recently a lot in healthcare, but logistics, financial services as well. I've worked, sort of with people like Barclays Capital and Barclays Wealth and some private equity. So lots of different, industries. And at the moment as well, technical training companies. I'm working with a couple of technical training companies at the moment, which is really, really interesting to see. In the UK, there's a big push to help digital skills and, kind of do what you're sort of doing, which is educating people on what's possible, but allowing somebody to kind of retrain and learn a technical skill, whether it's networking or software development. And so these training companies are providing that service. They're hired by the UK government, the Department of Education, to deliver those these boot camps. So we're working with those organizations to help them, again, use Microsoft 365 and use Microsoft Teams to deliver that training, and be able to report on that. So one of some of the challenges they have, they're running so many of these boot camps. They need to collate all the people that have attended, all the people who didn't attend, and we built them a solution which automates that. So it will collate these meeting attendance reports and put them into a database so that they can then report to the government and say, like, all these people have, taken the training. These are the people that haven't taken the training, but we recorded that session. We've sent them an email. They viewed the video and that, sort of processes like that, which, we sort of worked with the training company on. It's just, it's saved them a lot of time and energy. And I think we've sort of worked it out. It saves them about £200,000 a year, which, is a big return on investment. It's really, it's an interest, and been an interesting problem, because again, we didn't really have an idea about how we were going to approach it, how we were going to solve that problem. That's the fun of it. It's using those spikes to kind of say, right, we think we can do this. Well, let's, do a bit of development, try that out. Okay, that approach didn't work. Right, let's try another approach. That approach didn't work. Okay, this approach is working. Okay, let's go down that route. And so that sort of ability to kind of fail quickly and then try something else. That's an important skill. To kind of know that it's okay to fail. It's about picking yourself back up again and having another go. That's really important. If we're not failing, then we're not pushing forward. There's so many different projects, and so many different industries, but they all have similar problems. They have similar, problems, particularly when you're looking at intranets, and businesses generally have very similar problems in that they need to find a way that people can work together. How do they communicate what's going on, where the business is headed, strategy, but how do then the people in the business then communicate with senior management to suggest new ideas and be able to give feedback that things are working or not working. There are similar problems that each business has, regardless of their industry.
How much technology experience you have?
So yes, I had to think about this. So 26 years from that first year in industry from university. So 26 years of experience, lots of different areas. Yeah.
But you look so young.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got lucky genes, I guess. Yeah. And my dad is now, he's turning 80 this year, and he does not look 80 at all. So lucky, I think. It's a fascinating area, and it's only getting more fascinating, isn't it? I mean, I think Chat GPT 4 has been launched today, so that's going to be an interesting area, and it's something which we're talking about at the moment with the maturity model, is how do businesses leverage AI, and what are the things which they need to be thinking about. So, we're looking to put some more content out about that, thinking that not just from a Microsoft sort of perspective, but just generally, understanding kind of like AI and the different maturity levels. So we've been talking about that. I think AI is going to be very interesting from a kind of a management and a governance perspective, because it can do a lot, but I think if it needs some guidance, it needs some controls, because it could get an organization into trouble because it's not it's not perfect, and it really depends on what information's been fed into it, and what it's being asked to do, and whether it can do that or not. And I think that's going to be a fascinating area. So yeah, I do wonder if there will be maybe there'll be some new HTML tags, like AI tag, and it will say, this paragraph is from this AI model, and here's how we came up with the content, sort of the workings out of the things that were asked of that AI model, so that you can see how it got to the result. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a fascinating area.
So with this technology experience, and also the two startups which didn't work, that experience, you came up with, iThink, and now you have completed 4+ years doing different industry projects, and
Yes.
being an engineer, also developer, and also consultant, and you also worked for the infrastructure side. So can I say you have 360 degrees knowledge how a software works? And
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think that's true, and it really helps.
yeah,
When things go wrong, sometimes you get cryptic errors, don't you? It's bad gateway, or and it's like, okay, what's that bad gateway, and why would it, and understanding the TCP/IP stack, and understanding how networking works. Yeah, really, it does help. Just, it gives you an insight. You might see in an exception, a particular error, a word in that error message, and it kind of goes, maybe it's to do with X, Y, and Z, and it gives you, a approach to resolving those problems. So yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, and it's, it's good. It's interesting. Anyway, sorry, go on.
and coming with this lot of experience, becoming a business owner for a technology company and solving problems for other companies. It can be a training related company, or e-commerce, or hospitality, or any company that you work for. How you choose your team, because you are a person with like a good clarity, because you worked in different places, learning different tools. You know how things works in order to solve problems that you get. But coming to your team, they should work exactly like you in order to deliver the product or deliver the service in the time. So how
Yeah,
you choose, what qualities that you see in them, and how much time you
yeah,
spend in selecting?
yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. So I guess, how I think about it, is, you've got your values, of, so everyone talks about, company culture, but it's the values that you hold dear to you, and then your own personal values. And so it's, I want people to be honest and transparent. And so first of all, you need to know what it is that you want, and that does take some time and some thought, and that's taken me some time to kind of think through. But with the business coach, when we were chatting with Ian, he said, use behavior. So what is it that you've seen, the behavior of people? What is good? What is, this is acceptable, and what's bad? And then when you're sort of working, looking for your team, when you're interviewing, ask questions around, a particular area, and find out what their response would be. So give them a scenario. So it might be, a customer's just phoned up, they've got this problem, and they've got an error. What do you do? And good would be, right, well, I drop everything that I'm doing. We go and work and resolve the problem, and we get it resolved. Average would be, thanks for that. I'll record, and then I'll be, I'll just finish what I'm doing, and I'll call you back. Bad would be, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I will pick up with you in, a couple of days time, not respond to the customer. And so, using those behaviors, you can then understand, because ideally what you want is, people to behave in the way that you would behave in that situation. And so by using, these scenarios and then tracking the behaviors and maybe steering people and saying, this is how I'd expect you to behave. Here's good. Here's, expected. Here's bad. That then helps people kind of go, yes, I will fit in with this organization, because it's two things, isn't it? Someone who's your team, the team, the people need to want to be there, and you want them to be there. So it's got to be, both sides of the coin need to be there. And then, the challenge then is trying to find those traits of people that you like. And so something which, and it's taken a long time, to kind of work through, but understanding those values. So, for example, I want people to be really active and enjoy technology and wanting to learn, and sort of keep me in the loop with how, what they're up to, so that, I'm not chasing them and having to find out. That's what I want. I don't really like it when people are passive and expect me to kind of go and chase them with what's, what they're doing, or have they finished this. I want them to kind of be active and participating. And then I also want people to kind of want to learn and be excited and have that learning. And so, asking people questions about what excites them, what interests them about, the technologies which we work in, or, then you can kind of see if people have that or don't have that. So it's trying to, understand what you hold dear, and then, understanding those behaviors which would represent that this is what, somebody has those similar values, and using that to identify people. That's kind of, so that's how I.
That's great. So there will be a lot of people who will be watching and listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet. So can you tell, maybe they may need some technical help from you, or a solution for a problem. So tell me how you and your team works to solve any problem that you get, or any project that you get. How is the process, and what is the plan?
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like I say, we use an agile approach, because, fundamentally, whatever a customer comes to us with a problem or something they want building, it will be very different. The end result will be very different to what they originally envisioned. So the first thing is we use this kind of discover, develop, deliver, feedback kind of loop. So it's a sort of Scrum iterative cycle. So the first thing is we do a discovery phase. We do a workshop or a series of workshops where we interview the users and the people involved. So we do a kickoff, we define a project team, and then we do this discovery phase. We capture all of that information as user stories in Azure DevOps we use. And what is a user story? Well, it contains 3 bits of information. It contains the role that the requirement is for. So it's a way of capturing requirements. So it as a salesperson, and then it then gives you a description about what that requirement is. As a salesperson, I can record a contact in a CRM system. And then the third part is, why do you want to do that? What's the reason that we're doing this requirement? It's really important, because if you don't have that, then why are we doing it? What's the value in it to the business? But also that third bit about why you're doing it helps our team kind of go, oh yeah, you could do this, you could do that. It gives us the ability to suggest ideas. So the third part is the reason why you're doing it. And we capture all that information in DevOps as a user story, and then we build we have got sort of a checklist of areas which you want to talk about, security and, who the people are who are using the system, what the roles are, what's the volume of content, all of these things will play into what the possible approaches would be to solving that solution. If it's low volume, then maybe SharePoint is the way to go. But if it's higher volume, then SharePoint isn't. And so just go that discovery process. And what we do then is take all those user stories, and then we start to sort of work with the customer to say, well, this is what this is all the things you just said you wanted. And using that Scrum approach, we then prioritize those stories. So we kind of work with the customer and start to prioritize those stories based on value. And so the idea then is that the things which have got the most value get delivered first. And we take those user stories, which is the product backlog, and then we divvy those up. We divvy those up into sprints. And how we do that is we look at the user stories. We say, do we understand exactly what needs to happen in this user story? We might add some more content to it so that we do. And then we use user story points. And that allows us to kind of measure the complexity of that story. Like, how big is that story? And we use the Fibonacci sequence, which is a number. It's 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20. We stop at 20. We don't, if a user story is bigger than 20, then we break up that user story into smaller ones because it's too big to deliver. And then what we do is we then put those stories in to a sprint and say, based on based on the user story point, this is what we think we can do in a sprint. The development team will then do some task estimation. They'll create some tasks on those user stories and then give an idea of how long each of those tasks. But when you're sort of building those user stories and starting to delve into how you would deliver them, that's when you want to kind of eke out the areas of unknown and uncertainty. And that's where you sort of say, right, we don't know how we're going to tackle this. So we need to find out. So we will, again, do some research in a development spike. And we kind of come together to talk about those points. So, the team come together who've got different points of view and different expertise to come up with a solution and talk about the different solutions. So it's about, having that communication and saying, okay, it's okay, we don't know, but let's go on that journey and find out. Once we've got that sprint, then we'll start working and we invite the customer in. They can come in every day. They generally don't, but we want to meet with them at least once a week. So we can just keep them up to date because there will be problems. There will be things which don't work the way that we thought they might, or there's always issues, aren't there? It's just, that's the world of software, unfortunately. And we want to be able to bring those up quickly and in those stand-ups, that's when we do that. And that just helps build trust with the customer. And then, we will build in our DevOps processes. So we've got some libraries which we use for .NET and for sort of the pro code side. We've also got some libraries which we use for Power Platform, and we believe in the community, and those are shared. If you want to use our DevOps processes, you can. They're on GitHub, and we share that. And there's a series of blog articles on how to use them. And so we use those to deliver the solution from dev into test, into UAT in their environment, and then into production in their environment. And we've got a process which we run through that so that we can't, by mistake, deploy something into production. There's approval processes before those get deployed. But we use that same kind of consistent DevOps process across all our solutions. Once we've built something, we're running the sprint, we do a demo, we show the customer this is what you get, and we get feedback. We invite feedback on each of those user stories. Is this what you're expecting? Do we need to make any changes? And quite often people go, yeah, I like that, but actually that field, we need to tweak that. Or actually now that we've seen it, we think that we need to also capture this other information. And it's that process, isn't it? That iterative process where things get refined, incrementally get better and better, until the customer goes, yeah, that's it. You've got, what we're looking for. And generally customers, they won't get the 100% of what they want. They will get like the 80%, the really, really high value stuff, because that 20% will be really expensive. Oh yeah, if you want that, it's going to cost you, a lot more, and actually the value on that return on investment just isn't there, so they don't do it. Yeah, and then once we've delivered, it's documentation, making sure there's user guides, admin guides. That's really important. You'd be surprised how many other other organisations don't seem to do that, based on discussions we have with our customers. And then we invite feedback, so we do a retrospective and find out what went well, what didn't go well, how can we improve, and we actually ask them to score us at the end. What would you give this project out of 10, so that we can kind of see how we're doing. So that's again, that's useful to be able to measure the successfulness of a project. Yeah, so that's how we work. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, I got you. So you have worked on different projects. So what sizes of the companies you helped for?
Really varied. Quite often it seems to be around sort of 150 to 500. It's our common size organization. But then when you talk about trusts, the NHS, they're 5,000, 7,000 size organizations. And they're quite different, because no one really knows, like, when you're delivering a solution, and that's maybe particularly as an intranet solution where it's affecting the organization, no one knows really how it'll affect the whole organization. We can talk to people and find out from a subset of the employees in that organization what they need and what would be useful. But it's difficult to get. It would be too big to get all of the requirements from all those people. So you have to kind of divide and conquer and say, right, well, we'll go into this department and ask the questions there, and then we'll move on to the next department. But start delivering things so people are, so the organisation is getting benefit early. But yeah, really, really varied. And then I'm trying to think how big some of the banks were, but tens of thousands. But normally, sort of 100 to 500, and then occasionally sort of 5,000 size organisations. Yeah. So yeah, quite different.
So you are Microsoft most valuable professional as well.
Yes, yeah, very, very honoured to get that award last year, it really a real privilege. So I find it a bit odd. It's great to have, and it's fantastic to be. It's such an amazing, quite exclusive sort of community with people who are like are so in sort of top of their game. So feel like a bit of an imposter being in that. Actually, there's going to be a summit in Seattle next month, which I'm really looking forward to going to. It kind of stems from we've run a user group around SharePoint and Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform, and it'll be 9 years this year, 10 years next year. That's been fantastic. I've not really talked about the community yet, but back in 2014, there was a road show and we were chatting to a chap called Steve Smith, who ran kind of a UK SharePoint user group, and he was looking for smaller, looking for other regions in the UK to start a user group up. And so there's a core of us who started the SharePoint user group up, and we started meeting, at a pub every other month, and we started building this user group community. And it's been really great to share and meet different people and bring in experts in to talk about all the latest and greatest things going on. But really, when the pandemic hit and we all moved into being siloed at home, we ramped that up. We ended up doing sessions every 2 weeks just to kind of bring us all together and bring human contact again and have a chat about what we're up to. And so we called them the lockdown series. And that was fantastic. And that grew the user group. I think it's now about 400 members, but it was a worldwide audience. It always has just been people who lived around the Leeds and West Yorkshire area. And then we suddenly had this worldwide audience who used to join us. It's fantastic to kind of have different people and the experts come and talk for us. And then the other side is, community is sort of helping others and nurturing talent and helping sort of kind of give, people a way of getting into talking and speaking and not making it too scary. So we try things like lightning talks where people speak for 15 minutes about a particular problem on a project that they had and sharing those stories. And I think people find that really valuable. That's why we're doing this, isn't it? It's about sharing problems, how you solved them, so that other people can take that knowledge on and use that same approach and understand the pitfalls. And I find that that the SharePoint and the Microsoft 365 community is really strong at sharing experience and knowledge with the aim of uplifting us all so that we're all better at what we do. And when a customer throws some problem at us, it's like, oh yeah, no, I know how we can do this, and it's just it's great to be able to, provide a way that people can learn more from us. But the MVP side, there's so many kind of rock stars who I've kind of, I've really sort of started getting into the community in about 2007. Used to go to, when I lived in London, there were London user groups, and there were these rock stars who'd come and speak, and I was always in awe about what their knowledge and what they knew, and the fact they would stand up and talk in front of 150 people. I thought it was crazy. And so, yeah, it's amazing to kind of now, some of them are still MVPs. Chris O'Brien is a great one, and sort of see how they're still involved in the community, helping share their knowledge and expertise and pushing forward. And then there's a new wave of MVPs, people like Kevin McDonnell, and who are really so community focused. They want to just try and involve everybody and make it accessible. And I think the MVP network is become more accessible. It's easy. I think it's easier to become an MVP. Maybe it's just knowing the people but it is, anybody can do it. It takes hard work, but it is accessible to anybody, provided that they want to do the work to kind of help others. So I think it's a really a great time to be involved in the community and helping. And Microsoft themselves and open source, it's that ability to be able to share your code and work on projects together through GitHub and do all those community activity is much easier than it ever has been before. So it's a good time to be part of that. I think the hard thing is balancing it. It's the work life, but community balance. That's hard to kind of get that right. And that is certainly difficult.
And right now you're working remotely?
Everybody, we don't have an office for iThink. Everyone works remotely. We all work from our offices. All work from our home offices. We do meet up every month. So we go and hire a room and have an away day once a month. But we meet up every morning. So every morning, 9:05, we have our daily stand up, catch up, and talk about what's been going on, any problems which people are having, and then sort of use that to then help provide support. And if there's further conversations which often happen where people need some support and help, then we'll arrange those sessions there. But the away days have been really good. But our team is, we've got 4 members of the team sort of in Leeds in the area. We've got Yvonne, who's up in Thirsk. We've got Tim, who's down in sort of South UK, so South England. At one point, one of the team was working in Turkey. They decided that they were going to go and live in Turkey and take the family out there for just to see what it was like. Anybody, you can now work wherever, can't you? Anytime, anywhere. And so having that office, while we don't need it at the moment, but at some point we possibly will, as the company grows. And it comes down to, we talked about this last week about different personalities, and then those people who thrive off others, those extroverts. That's maybe when we need to have an office where you've got more people like that, and they want to be able to connect with others and meet up with people. Then I think that's when we might have to think about getting an office. But at the moment we all work remotely, and it works well. Yeah, and it gives people the balance and flexibility. I can go and pick up the kids from school, I can drop them off at school, and the rest of the team can do that. And I think that helps kind of people be able to kind of live the life that.
Where this business knowledge came for you? Because a lot of your career was into development, consulting, and understanding the infrastructure side of the technology. So when you understood this business, and because when I meet people who become developers, engineers, become business owners, they are not great business, business people. But it seems like you're very good in management also, and also great in understanding any client that you get.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably just I'll probably give that illusion, but I think a lot of it. So I'm a pretty open person. I will try things out, and I have to say a lot of what the business coaching that's really helped me understand business more. Like it's been a lot, quite a long journey, 4 years. And it's reading and consuming videos and knowledge, and just constantly learning and kind of identifying, right, what do I need to know to be better, and so that's kind of where it comes from. So you can't see it, but there's a load of books over there, and they're all business orientated books, and learning about sales and marketing and different approaches, podcasts as well. So just trying to consume as much knowledge, and always learning. So I guess that's how I've got it. You all started to kind of understand. I'm still learning. I think we always will be, won't we? There'll always be new ways of doing things. But yeah, and it's putting that time and effort. So yeah, that's how I've got there, I guess. So yeah, reading.
So at last, what reading? Yeah, great, man. So at last, what do you say about the service that you're providing, and can you tell on an end note? Can you tell the service that you're providing, and
Sure.
what problems that you can solve? Your company is based in UK, and you work for companies which are outside UK?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have done. We do. Yeah, we do. So, we predominantly work with businesses which are UK based, but quite often they've got offices all over. One of the logistics companies, they're all over the Middle East, South America, Australasia, America, of course, as well, and Europe too. So that they're just, across the world. But yeah, I mean, the business fundamentally is about helping other businesses get value out of Microsoft 365, helping them solve challenges around how people collaborate, how people can communicate, how the business communicates, how the business can improve its productivity and efficiency using business process and automation. How also, and something when we talk about, is capturing the knowledge and the corporate assets and protecting those corporate assets. So, capturing that knowledge about how a business process is run and making that discoverable to the business, helping the business improve employee well-being, onboarding employees into business. That's really important. The sooner that you can give people who are joining your business the skills that they need and the knowledge that they need, the sooner that they're going to be working in the way you want them to be working and be productive and start helping drive your business forward. So that's what we do, and then of course building applications and delivering solutions to problems around business process. I guess those are our core services. And we take our customers on a journey. So, we take them through building that foundation and building on the foundation to deliver more value to them using the 365 platform. That's what we do.
And at last, as a business owner, as an engineer, as a developer, as a person who is solving problems and a constant learner, what is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, no, the one that, I think it's a great project, this idea of connecting different people. And it amazes me. It's fantastic. Some of the people you've interviewed, there's the chap who was was it chief architect of AWS and the web services, and hearing about his journey. And then you've got the radio presenter. You've got the Grammys nomination as well. Yeah, like all walks of life, all sharing their expertise and knowledge. And again, just being able to, use that to glean tips and ideas and, which you can then incorporate in how we do things. It's fantastic. So yeah, I think it's a great project, and just it was fascinating understanding, people from all different walks of life and different cultures, different parts of the world. And actually I do meditation. I've been meditating for a few years now, and this idea that we all have similar like worries and concerns, and it helps break down those divides and make the world a slightly smaller place. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. So yeah, please just keep on doing what you're doing, and I look forward to the next set of videos, and looking forward to watching this video that you've just done before me. So that sounds like a really good one. So yeah.
I'm an AWS Cloud DevOps Engineer, which is my full-time role. The interviews and talking with experts like you who are already in the industry, who solve different problems, who are solving problems around the world. I took this project 2 years back, more than 580 interviews I've done in last 2 years, almost 2 to 3 interviews a day.
Wow.
In different time zones, more than 100 country experts came to my show, and I tried to explore their minds, which was my concept, like exploring minds and exploring their work. So yeah, this is.
Do you think have you seen any consistencies? Have you seen similarities on different experts and the way they talk, or is it quite quite different? You know, are there any sort of shared patterns which that these other people have had when you talk to them?
Everybody talks like you. Everybody is like you in simple
Okay.
words. Yesterday, I interviewed a person who is a principal technical uh, uh, evangelist from Microsoft. He said he said the same things that you said. I
Okay.
don't see any difference because you all are like have following certain values in order to solve the problems. Everybody are like solving problems, but different approaches are different, and the way of thinking is different. But eventually, everybody wants to solve problems.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the fun, isn't it? It's yeah. There's that someone puts this roadblock in your way, and it's like, right, well, how can we break down that roadblock or go around it or under it or whatever, you know? And that's the challenge, isn't it? And it's good fun.
So if you have DevOps engineer requirement, I would love to join you because I also have a business knowledge about business knowledge of technology. Also working as a full-time engineer as a DevOps because I also follow the same values that you follow, and this is one of my greatest interviews because similar thinking and similar mindset.
Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll let's continue the conversation definitely, and see where that goes. That sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. No, that'd be really good. So
Can I
go on.
can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Of course. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
And also, can I put this video on an audio clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, you've got my permission to do that. Yeah, no problem at all. Don't think I've said anything silly. Or, yeah, so absolutely fine.
Can you share your website to my podcast listeners? iThink.com.
It's so the website is www.ithink365.co.uk. It is ithink365.co.uk. My blog is simondoy.com, and but yeah, if you go to ithink365.co.uk, that'll give you access to us and myself. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you and hear about what challenges you're looking to solve. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for the opportunity and letting us share that.
I'll put the links in the description of this video also on the screen. People who finds our video on YouTube and also people who listens this on podcast from anywhere in the world can know what you're doing and can see the problems that you're solving. Also can see what problems that you can solve for them.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's really, really good. So, and then, yeah, if you let us know and I can retweet, reshare, I'll put it on LinkedIn as well, and and maybe and sort of reshare it on YouTube as well, and I can reshare it to the M365 North user group as well. So hopefully get a few more followers too, which would be great too. So can help you on your plan. And I might also it might be worth me introducing you to some other people, some other MVPs. I know loads of people who'd love to have a chat with you, and I think you'd find their what they've got to say really interesting as well. So I think I'll introduce you to a few people as well, if that's would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Simon, for your valuable time and sharing your valuable experience with my audience. Also telling about the work that you have done. It is inspirational and so motivational. And thanks for being a great contributor to the technology world.
Oh, no, thank you so much. Thank you much for doing this project and putting all the effort. It's no mean feat. 500 videos, that is incredible. So well done. Congratulations. That's fantastic. And, there will be those times when you think, oh, is it not, is it too much? But, you're doing fantastic. And thank you for your hard effort as well. So thanks for the opportunity. It's been really great. So, yeah.
Thank you again.
All care. Right. You take care. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll have that conversation as well.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Cheers. Bye.